Hi, people. This is just an introduction to my December update. I'm recording this on New Year's Eve, 31st of December, although it'll take a couple of days to put it to premiere or public or whatever. So it's Angie from angelascashes.org, Angela Power Disney. And I don't know what to say other than this has been one of the most challenging years in my life for a very long time. This time last year, I was headed into a breakdown, and thank God I'm the other side of that. I'm in counselling once a week, and recovering and making amends, and trying to build bridges, and also apologetic for not doing as much journalism, quote unquote, work as I would like to. And to be honest, it's been a path of recovery, a path of losing my father in July, and trying to process a lot of things, and also dealing just with vast amounts of admin. I think the fallout from the two and a half years shutdown of the pandemic, all sorts of things had expired, so I had to jump through all sorts of hoops online, just things like renewing my driver's license and my this, that, and the other, and getting taxes and getting everything in order, just putting my house in order, and learning little tricks, like if I cancel a contract, I will get an inducement offered of 50% for 6 months or whatever, a loyalty payment. There's all sorts of little tricks one can do to keep the outgoings moderate. So that's kind of just trying to restructure my life as a single woman, a divorced woman, almost at retirement age. It's very funny to think, okay, I need to put my entrepreneur hat on, and I need to actually increase my income and hedge my retirement. So just briefly, because I know I've always been personal with you guys, so my father's will has gone into probate. I stand to inherit almost an acre of land at 65, so I'm going to be glass half full. How great to have a field, and that might not be settled for a year. And the easy route would be for me to say, there are four of us, left the field, and if three of them want to sell, I will be unpopular for saying I don't want to. And I'm constantly inspired by John B. Keane, The Field, so I'll continue that series. And it's like a long time since my life has been this fluid. So out of the comfort zone, it's definitely been, and that's not always a bad thing. So I'm just being entrepreneurial and trying to brainstorm, not just to survive, but to thrive. And on that subject, if you appreciate my work, whatever you might categorize it as, please do hit the GoFundMe link in my description box and show your appreciation, and I'll certainly show mine. I've done another segment with my assistant where we've looked briefly at what the plans are going forward are for Hampstead coverage and Anglesey coverage. The Australian school teacher has undertaken to cover Hampstead in terms of the monstrous podcast debunk. And if she doesn't, we'll step up into that. And with Anglesey, I certainly am praying and hoping for a breakthrough. And I just want you to imagine, as we, say goodbye to 2022, I just want you to imagine what it's like for the persecuted to be in jail and not even have freedom of communication for years. So I've never been an advocate of people saying, "Oh, count your blessings," although gratitude is a huge unlocking of good things. Like I started off this morning anxious, and then just decided to stand in the scripture that says, "This is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." So I have struggled a lot with depression and anxiety and despair really this year, and yet we're still here. There's a very encouraging conversation between myself and Aaron, an update on the Lithuanian Survivor series, where the overall message is one of hope, that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how much Stockholm syndrome, no matter how much self-destruction goes on in victim survivors' lives, the very fact that we're still standing. I saw a lovely meme this morning. It says, if you're hanging on to life by a thread, make sure it's the hem of his garment, the hem of Jesus' garment, like the woman that got healed. Okay, so that's the introduction, and do please send support if you can. I'm restructuring, I'm doing everything I can. Ruby went away to get married, but unfortunately, there's only a 20% chance that she's actually going to have puppies this time around. We might have just missed the window of opportunity, in which case we've got one more window in 6 months' time before she hits 8 next September. So it's all very exciting, and she's come home like, "Oh, I've got a secret." But we won't know for 6 weeks if she's in pup. And as I say, the stud dog breeder said it's 20% likely given their interactions this time round. But so that's new life, that's new life. I have a new grandchild. It literally is time to just hold on to the hem of his garment and believe God for a miracle. I've been very skeptical about the Q movement and the blatant liars and grifters making millions out of that and out of selling hopium. And yet there's still a part of me that hopes, that this Jan 6 court case with the Supreme Court, the same Supreme Court that did overturn Roe v. Wade, it wasn't a total victory, because what they did was just return abortion legislation to the states instead of it being, a statewide federal decision. Each governor can now make a decision, and we can already see that some have made horrendous decisions, in my opinion. But it still was a victory, and so there might be another victory in January. And the brothers that have filed these lawsuits that Congress did not uphold their oath to defend the Constitution, they broke that oath, and hopefully that will be upheld in the American courts. There's some great political speeches coming out of Ireland decrying Trudeau's actions during the trucker protests, and decrying the devastation of war going on, no matter who you blame, who you support, the devastation that's gone on since February, well, since 2014, but more especially since February in the Ukraine, is heartbreaking. And nobody wants to see that escalate to nuclear destruction, So I do believe the Bible. I do believe in biblical prophecy. I do believe the end times will unfold, but let them be in God's timing and not a counterfeit unrolling orchestrated by Luciferians, In Jesus' name, Lord, not our will, but yours be done. So that's it. Enjoy the chat. the December update, not very formal, but it hasn't been a very formal or usual year. It's been extraordinary. And I just pray for each and every one of you. I appreciate my subscribers, some of whom have been with me years. And I appreciate each and every one of you, and thank you. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your silent participation. And thank you for those who've supported me. God bless. I want to update a couple of things. So, okay. So the Hampstead case, let me update on that first. Back in 2015, during the secret Facebook group, Hampstead Research, Australian survivors suggested that we start cross-reporting, because if people in the UK or Europe reported SRA, they were likely to be sectioned or arrested or targeted or character assassinated. So somebody very wise on the Australian side of survivors said, let's, we'll report your stuff, you report our stuff, and that way they're unlikely to target us. And that was brilliant advice, right? So Alison Aitken is a school teacher in Australia, and she said she was going to review and debunk the Tortoise Media, Alexei Mostra's mainstream media, like pretending not to be mainstream media. Like Tortoise Media comprises people from Davos, from Wall Street, from BBC, pretending to be alternative media, a bit like GB News, even a bit like David Icke. I'm sorry to say that, even a bit like Alex Jones, right? So, and it became the #1 podcast for a while in Australia, the 8-part series allegedly debunking the Hampstead children's disclosures. Elisa and Gabriel, I'll say the names. Elisa's going to be 18 next year. Gabriel's going to be 17. Ricky Dearman has threatened to have them sue me for everything I've got, which is not a lot, but for everything I've got by the time they come of age. And we press on, right? So, but Alison is bewitched by about whom I'm on the fence. He could be being targeted hugely, or he could be the wrong side of the fence, right? I know from his own mouth that he has a meth addiction, that he's been a gangster. I know a lot of sad facts, and I've advocated for years. Dina, I can't remember her last name, Dina, but anyway, Dina and Trilby and many others, Natalie, are speaking out against. So I'm just cautiously trying to navigate this. But Alison promised to debunk the Mostrous podcast, and so far she's only released 2 videos. One is introductory, the other is bigging up. And so I am trying to be brave, and with Aaron we have committed in 2023 that we will review and debunk the 8-part podcast by ex-BBC, ex-Wall Street, ex-Davos, pretending to be alternative media. And the other thing, the 2 cases we're focusing on are Anglesey and Hampstead. And, for reasons of persecution, we have kept at arm's length. But I think Aaron and I can both agree that in 2023, there's not a lot left to lose, is there? And I want you, Aaron, to just take it personal. The reason I do this is I'm a survivor. I've just done a 4 or 5 part disclosure to a small YouTube channel called Only God Rescued Me. And I've tried again to disclose my MK Ultra past, which I did in 2013 when Miles Johnston came to my hometown. He stayed in a hotel, but he came here. He filmed for 11 hours and then subsequently filmed for another 3 or 4. And Kathy Morgan was here too. And that's all documented on my BitChute account, Basis 43. And then I've recently re-documented my history, and I'm disgusted to hear people like Dazed But Not Confused. I can't remember his real name. Anyway, him saying, but your MK Ultra background seems really suspect. It's like I've been saying the same thing since 2008 or since 1979 when I was at university and wrote a play called Eileen, which got funding and was due to be filmed in the same 1,000-person theatre that Boris Johnson's wife at the University of Warwick filmed or featured in a production that was satanic. So the University of Warwick is tied to Bill Clinton and Tony Blair. It was tied to surveillance and projects and MK Ultra. I don't care. I don't have to prove myself. But Aaron, I just want you, having said this, like this is like a really random December update. I just want you to give us an update because you are one of the 2-person Lithuanian Survivor Story series. And although I don't want to tell your half-sister's story, I do want you to update us on yours.
She's my actually real sister.
Full sister, same mother, same father?
Yeah, full sister, yeah.
Wow.
And so the update is the trauma. We are in our 40s now. I'm 42, she's 43. And the trauma is still there.
Yeah.
Which what happened to us is that we have different stories. Part one is my sister, and then after that she freaked out. She freaked out because of her abusive husband. But then I am struggling with my relationship. I'm with her. I mean, our relationship went nuts because after that, like straight after that, it looks like she has a Stockholm syndrome, and she doesn't know how to live a happy life anymore. Anything good happens, it has to be bad, or something has to be bad. And then when there's good people in her life, she destroys that relationship. She becomes angry for no reason, and she does all kinds of insulting things and bad things to people. She's full of, I don't know what sort of revenge, or what could I call it. And I am living a calm life now. I fixed myself, and that took me many years. Even when I got married at 35, I was still struggling ridiculously with the trauma that, I mean, where I would blast out like crazy on smallest things, and I still am like that, but not that bad. Not that bad. That's like it's a lot better now. But this trauma is so installed in your body because all of that happened in your childhood and in your teenage years, and you grew up with that. everyone is going to harm you, everyone is going to hurt you, including your own mother. And you're just living like a rabbit in a rabbit hole, you know, you're afraid of everything, like an antelope, always looking out for predator. And that's how you grow up, and it's installed in your adult mindset, and that's what we're struggling with. My
I
sister,
have a hypervigilance. I've been told that, like, I'm hypervigilant, like, and it's a curse in a way because I'm always looking out for the trap or the attack or the deception, and it's a horrible way to live. It's
yes,
and you miss out on a lot of the joy of life because you're so hypervigilant that you're trained that somebody's going to attack you or deceive you any minute. Right now, somebody's going
and
to.
even the closest people in your life,
Yeah,
even the very closest people in your life.
yeah.
Therefore, you can't trust anyone anymore.
Yeah, which is a terrible way to live. That's not how we were designed to live. That's not like that. That's what's happened to society at large. Is we're all being black pilled into believing don't trust the government, don't trust the police, don't trust the politicians.
But through this trauma, it's installed in your head to not trust your loved ones.
Anybody. Yeah, I agree. And it's gone too far. It's gone too far so that we're so alienated. I've been following work about estranged adult children, and apparently it's gone off the charts where children are cutting off their parents because it's the kind of new thing to say, oh, they're toxic and they're narcissists and they said this and they said that. Now, I come from a very abusive, multi-generational family, but at the same time, I know at least one of my children has gone to counseling and been advised, oh, cut your mother off, quick, and it's all part of the agenda to break down the family structure. So we need to find a middle ground where honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days might be long and it might go well with thee. But at the same time, of course, you don't honor parents that abused you and neglected you and pimped you out and trafficked you. Of course, you have to separate from those kind of parents. So
yeah. So since we're my mid-20s, my mind flipped, and I realized that this is all fucked up. You know, it has to change. But I was like, I'm naturally a loving person, and I can't stand unfairness, and I was sort of a family peacemaker because the whole family was blocking each other away, hating each other,
yeah.
hating each other with a passion. And I'm like, oh, come on, at least for Christmas, can we sit at one table? You can hate each other for the rest of the year, but I don't know. So I was always this peacemaker. I was solving their problems. They would always come to me since I was 25. And it was just, and so now, then I moved to London when I was 30, up for my 30th birthday, basically. I moved to London and everything changed. I then decided, this is it. I'm going to live for myself. Be selfish. Because and that's how I still couldn't. But anyway, until I met the person of my life. Until I met the person of my life, and then I got married at 35. And everything is the opposite. My life is at peace. I am stronger, and I thought, hey, now I can help my family better, because my sister is still going like an amusement park, a roller coaster of
Drama.
roller coaster.
Drama, tragedy, trauma,
Hatred, anger,
violence.
and I'm like, hey, I'm stronger now. Even my strength didn't help. So some people at some point in their life they flip. They finally find out what's going on, but not without support.
Yeah.
My sister has a predator in the house, not
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say it's so simplistic, but that movie, is it Sleepless in Seattle or Sleeping with the Enemy? There's a movie, I think it's Sleepless in Seattle or Sleeping with the Enemy.
It is Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yeah, and it shows what it's like. And I just had a guest in my house I took in a homeless woman for 2.5 weeks over the holidays, and she's just beautiful. She's educated. She's sensitive. She's incredible. But she brought with her a narcissist who violently attacked her 3 times in my home. And when I found out, I ejected him and like, you know, like drew a line in the sand. But it's like, how can somebody at the one time be so intelligent and sensitive and educated and empathic, and at the same time trail along a narcissist? And this reminds me of your sister. Trail along a narcissist that will beat them black and blue and still pretend to be there.
Yes, and every negative feeling you can think of, that's their life. It's like anger, hatred, jealousy, a lot of jealousy. But like the last message I received from her was a few days ago. You live this nice life. You don't understand what life is. I'm like, have you forgotten what we both been through?
Yeah, you escaped it. You just constructively escaped it. Like, you could have stayed being a victim like she is. You could have stayed in victim mode, and you didn't.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. And so we're still not blocking each other anywhere.
All right.
But I said to her in my last response was, I don't need you. I don't need your hatred. I don't need your revenge for nothing. When someone did nothing, you still have some sort of hatred. She lives in an imaginary world. What that trauma created is a monster person that lives in an imaginary world, creates problems.
She doesn't even.
They don't exist.
No, I need to say this. She doesn't even get it that you and your partner had to flee your home. Agreed by
when her husband.
No, I need to say this. Right?
Yeah.
The local police and intelligence services agreed that you and your partner should flee your home for your safety because the death threat was real, right?
Yes.
So you literally had to pack a bag and go and stay wherever.
Run right now.
Run for your lives. And you were not being.
And 1 hour later, some strangers were trying to break into our house.
Yeah, exactly.
We were on the road already.
And I don't think your sister even gets her head around that. I don't think she even believes.
She doesn't understand how evil that is. That's her husband who was trying to kill me.
Yeah.
And she sends me a message saying, don't worry, he's not going to. And he's sending them.
Now he's changed his mind. Now he says he won't kill you.
He's not going to kill you. He is only going to break all bones of yours and make you a cripple. Oh, thanks. That makes me feel so much better.
I had a double.
Doesn't understand the weight of it.
Yeah, no, I had an offer from Irish American Mafia back in 87, 8, and they said, we will break his knees and leave him in a ditch, or we will assassinate him and nobody will know. You choose. And I just couldn't green light them. But the truth is, it's like, oh, you think you're doing me a favor, so now you say you're not going to murder me, you're just going to break my fucking bones and leave me in a ditch. Like, stop it, stop it. And I just salute the courage of you and your partner, and it was very, very hairy. I salute the courage where you did not cave. You could have said to me, Angie, I'm done. I'm never doing this work again. It's too scary. And like, my brother-in-law's going crazy in Lithuania, and he's Secret Service, and he's getting recruited for Ukraine. And my sister is like, keeps going back to sleep, and like, we're having to flee our house. You could have just quit. I have to say, for 2022, I totally and utterly honor the fact that you didn't quit. You didn't quit. You didn't quit. You didn't quit.
But I've been working with you for more than 2 years.
Yeah.
For more than 2 years now, and I was only very sad that my partner had to suffer because of my evil witch sister. But she's not an evil witch. She was made that way by trauma.
Okay.
And I forgive her. She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, and that's what it says in the Bible. Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. That's what Jesus said, and that's what the Apostle Stephen said when he was getting stoned to death. He said, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're fucking doing. It's tragic. But look, let's end on a happy note. We've done probably an hour's video, and I just want to say, I just want to thank you. And the biggest thing for me in 2022 is that you had every opportunity to quit, and you powered through, and so did your partner.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. And my partner always supports me.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was so dramatic, so scary. And I still pray for Alana. I pray that she breaks free. I pray that she continues to watch our work. And like I said before, statistics show that domestic violence victims take an average of 5 attempts to break free. So even if the last broadcast was Alana's 4th attempt, I pray that the next time she will break free. So look, we
Yeah,
can't.
hopefully. Hope.
Yeah.
But let's leave it with a hope, I think.
Yeah. And you edit this, and then we'll submit it in a couple of days. All right, love you. God bless. Happy New Year.
Year.
God bless.